Hey there nerds, and welcome to my top 10 horror movie video. So this is a video I've been meaning to do for quite a while. I'm a big horror fan. Growing up as a kid, me and my brother tended to try and get hold of things we weren't supposed to watch. And we actually watched quite a lot of these horror movies when we were kids. So yeah, I wanted to do my top 10 all-time horror movies. These movies will be from any time period. Previously I did a top 10 80s movies video. This one is not 80s, I'm not limiting myself to the 80s, although most of the best horror films are from the 80s, in my opinion. But yeah, this is an all-time top 10 horror movie video. Okay, we're going straight in at number 10, and it is The Evil Dead. Okay, so The Evil Dead was released in 1981, and it was written and directed by Sam Raimi, and it is a supernatural American horror film. So the film focuses on 5 students going on a little vacation in a secluded and isolated wooded area. That's always a great idea, isn't it? Yeah, they find an audio tape, and when they play it, demons are released, basically. Some of the students suffer demonic possession, and all kinds of crazy stuff happens. The movie features a book called the Necronomicon, which is the Book of the Dead, and that features throughout all the Evil Dead films. But yeah, the original Evil Dead is the one we are talking about. And the audio tape they found was passages from this ancient Sumerian text, the Necronomicon. So Ash is one of the students, and he features in all the sequels and the TV series. And yeah, basically he's the hero of the movie, and he has become a cult hero. He's one of the most recognisable characters in the horror genre, and played by Bruce Campbell. And yeah, so yeah, I just love this movie. It's really cool. Obviously, I think maybe time's taken its toll on this one in particular, if you watch it now, but it was amazing at the time. Me and my brother, we watched this one because my uncle was living with us for a while, and he had this on VHS, and one night when my mum and dad were out and we were being babysitted by my uncle, we nabbed his videotape and took it to our room and watched it. And yeah, we it scared the crap out of us. We were only like 9, my brother was probably about 7, but yeah, we loved it. So that was number 10, that was Evil Dead. Okay, so number 9 is Sinister. So we're going for a more modern movie. Now, I'm not a massive fan of modern horror films. I don't find many of them scary, to be honest with you. But this one really scared the crap out of me. Now, I don't know if it's my old age or not, because I'm not old, but I'm a parent, and since I've become a parent, I seem to find some of these horror films a little bit more, I don't know, I get scared a bit more than I used to. I used to watch anything when I was younger, and now I'm an adult, I find myself getting a little bit creeped out, and I have to, snuggle up with my fiancée because I get a little bit scared. So Sinister came out in 2012. It's an American horror film, and it was directed by Scott Derrickson. It stars Ethan Hawke as fictional crime writer Ellison Oswald, and he basically discovers a box of home movies in the house that he moves into. They're in the attic, and by watching them, he basically puts his family in danger. The footage on the tapes depicts the graphic deaths of other families throughout different decades. And when he's watching one, he's worked his way through a few of them. He notices a demonic figure in one of the films in the bottom of a swimming pool. And this thing's, I don't know, it's creepy as hell, this thing, when you see it. And I think that's the best sort of supernatural horror films like this, especially the modern ones. I prefer it when you just see a glimpse of something, or barely see it, or don't even see it at all. As soon as they show you what it is, like in Insidious, once you see what it is, it doesn't have the same effect. You have to not see the thing. And Sinister did a good job with this, because you never really saw it properly in the first film, and he really kept you guessing about what it was, and it was scary as hell in places. Yeah, I thought it was a really clever movie, and it was definitely one of the better modern horror films that's out there. Most horror films nowadays, since Saw and Hostel, would just go for the gore factor, over the top, just horrendous gore and brutality, and I think I prefer the films that have got a sort of a supernatural, scary twist to them, and this certainly had that. Okay, that was Sinister, number 9. Number 8 is another modern film, and it is It Follows. Okay, so this film, I think this divides opinion. A lot of people really love it, and a lot of people really dislike it, and there's no in between. I really love this film, and I watched it after watching, I think it was Spider Geek's top 10 2015 movies, and it was on there, and I thought, wow, that sounds pretty cool. So I took a look and thought it was really brilliant. I loved it. I've recommended it to a couple of friends that I work with, and they both hated it. So yeah, it's like Marmite. I think you either love it or hate it. Anyways, It Follows was released in 2014. Supernatural thriller horror, written and directed by David Robert Mitchell. I thought this film was a very interesting premise, and I don't want to spoil it for you, so I'm not going to go too much into it because it is the main sort of reason to watch this film. Is it's got a very different plot twist to it. But basically, it's about a girl who, after having a sexual encounter with her new boyfriend, is pursued by a supernatural entity. The music score in this movie is what really made it for me. I love the music in this, and I think that's the biggest draw to a horror film is the score. It's what makes you, it puts you on edge, and you know, you get these goosebumps in your arm, and this film really did that. The film itself is not scary by any means really at all. I find it really interesting, it's a little bit creepy, it's not that scary, but it's the music that really makes it. I really found the music to be amazing, really intense. But yeah, I loved it. Like I said, people hated it. I can't be that wrong when it got 97% on Rotten Tomatoes and 83% on Metacritic. So yeah, check it out guys, I do encourage you to check it out. Form your own opinion on it. So that's number 8, It Follows. Okay, number 7, Hellraiser. Okay, so Hellraiser is probably one of the most graphic horror films I've ever watched when I was a small child. Must have been about 10 when I watched it. And it's pretty horrific. Okay, so Hellraiser is a 1987 British horror movie. One of the few good British horrors probably. It was directed by Clive Barker, and it's based on his novella that he wrote, which was The Hellbound Heart. The film's got loads of sequels, and they progressively get worse, to be honest with you. I think you get stop at number 3. Okay, so the film revolves around the resurrection of a guy called Frank. He basically opened the door to an alternate dimension using this puzzle box, and he had his body ripped apart by these creatures known as Cenobites. Years later, Frank's brother Larry and his wife and daughter move into Frank's abandoned house. An accident causes his wife Julia to spill some blood on the attic floor, and that basically triggers Frank's resurrection. But to complete his resurrection, Frank requires more blood, which Julia starts to provide by killing people. And Kirsty, Larry's daughter, discovers Frank's puzzle box, which leads her to meet the Cenobites. Cenobites in this movie, you have Pinhead, who's the main one, the iconic one that we all know. The Chatterer, who's a bit of a weird, creepy one. Butterball, I mean, Butterball. I mean, what sort of name is that for a demon? And then there's the female Cenobite. I don't know if that is that her name. That's all I could find in that, but I think that's her name. Yeah, so like I say, it's a really graphic, gory film. It is brilliant. I love it. So yeah, you should really check that out. Okay, number 6. Now number 6 is a film called Nightbreed. So Nightbreed's a film I loved when I was growing up. I really loved it. I don't know if it's a true horror film. I think it is, but I'm not entirely sure. But I'm going to class it as a horror film, so we're going to categorise it in this top 10. Okay, so this is also directed by Clive Barker. It's a 1990 fantasy horror film, we're going to call it. It's based on another one of Clive Barker's novellas, Cabal, which that was released in 1988, I think. So the film features an unstable mental patient who is falsely led to believe by his doctor that he's a serial killer. And he basically goes on the run, being tracked by the police and his girlfriend and the doctor. So the mental patient's called Boone, and he eventually finds refuge in a graveyard called Midian. And in this graveyard there's a secret underground city, Midian, and it's inhabited by these strange creatures, like monsters, they're like a tribe of monsters, outcasts who live there, and they call themselves the Nightbreed, and they basically just hide there away from humanity just to live out their lives. The Nightbreed at the time, it was a commercial failure. It didn't do well. The film company I think tried to sell it as a regular sort of horror slasher movie when it wasn't. It's not that at all. It's very different. It's a very unique movie. You know, they obviously didn't have any real idea of the film's actual story. They just went with it's Clive Barker horror. Let's release it and pitch it like that. But now, yeah, it has achieved a cult status, and you know, a lot of people do love it. It's really hard to get hold of. I'm trying to get hold of it on Blu-ray. I can't get it. It's really expensive if you want to get some of the special editions. I think Scream Factory did it, and it's really expensive to get hold of. I found a couple of things on eBay where it's a Spanish version. I don't really want the Spanish version, but we might have to go with that. But yeah, I originally watched the movie because I had an old computer called an Amiga. I don't know if any of you will remember it. And I had the game. I think it was brought out by Ocean, and I remember seeing the box and the shop, and it had this weird monstrous creature on the front, and I was really intrigued by it, and I was like, wow, what's this? And I wanted to, try and watch the movie, and I can't remember how we managed to watch it. It might have been on telly or something, but me and my brother watched it one night anyway. So yeah, really cool, really obscure film. You might not be aware of it, so yeah, check that one out, guys. Okay, we're going to leave it there, guys. We're going to just leave it with the first part of my top 10. So we've done numbers 10 to 6. So stay tuned for the second part video, which will be up shortly, with numbers 5 to 1. This is going to be a really long video if I try and do the whole lot in one. So we're going to do part 1 today. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope maybe this might have made you aware to certain horror films you've not seen before. And most of you would have seen most of these if you're a horror fan. So yeah, so like I say, stay tuned for the next video and we'll find out what are my numbers 5 to 1. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, guys, give it a like. It's much appreciated. Leave some comments about your thoughts on these movies. If any of you have got a top 10, let me know what films would be in your top 10. Let me know what you think about the films that are featured in this first part, numbers 10 to 6. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe to my channel. There's other movie-related stuff on my channel, comics, Funko Pop unboxings, loads and loads of different nerdy stuff to check out. So yeah, have a look back through my videos, and if you enjoy, then subscribe. I'd love to have you on board with my channel. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take it easy.